Hey everyone, it's Froggy, and I'm back again with another episode of Requiescence, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start. If any of you have played the Seven Kingdoms demo, the art style on the characters looks pretty much the same. I'm wondering if they use the same artist. A huge fiery glow. It fills the end of the broad corridor. It feels like some sort of powerful heat is emanating from inside. A sudden rush of hot air brushes against my face and blows my hair back. And then behind me, an abrupt, frenzied whinny. I turn to see my horse rearing up in terror.
Ayla, no!
Whoop. And takes off galloping in the direction we came from, abandoning me without a second thought. It's a good thing you got your stuff. At least I unstrapped my bag first. Yep, exactly what I said. Camille, so that's who we are? Although I try to keep myself calm, my stomach starts to bubble with nervousness again. I do my best to put the thought of starvation and an abandonment out of my mind. Surely there has to be something here. Why else would Gideon write about this place? But if not, no, there's not much I can do about it now. Just to make sure it's still there, I lower a hand to feel for the pommel of the sword handle from my belt. My fingers brush against it, and the cool touch of the metal is comforting somehow. Well, no point in wasting any more time. I step inside the corridor, clutching my pack tightly. Hesitantly, I start to make my way further into the hall. It's remarkably warm inside. The heat is very different from the cool evening air, and it's a little uncomfortable. It also smells oddly sulfuric. Ugh. I take an idle glance up at the ceiling as I walk forward. The beautiful arches are reminiscent of the ancient grand temples that used to be revered places of worship. But the fiery glow makes it hard to see both above and far ahead of me. When I glance back over my shoulder after walking for a minute, I can't even see the exit anymore. It feels like the cathedral is swallowing me. Why am I being so melodramatic? It's a creepy, lonely place, sure, but at least I finally found it. So far, it seems a lot like how my uncle described it in his notebook. A huge dark place with an aura of foreboding hanging around it like a cloud. He told me he never set foot here himself and only knew about it from his research, but his description seems very accurate. Brushing my bangs back from my forehead with a hand, I head further towards the opaque glow, listening to my footsteps softly echo back to me. After walking for a while, I curiously reach out to brush my fingertips against the wall. The stone feels warm, and the soft grooves curve gently under my hand. I think I can make out what looks like runes? They're some sort of strange symbols, and I can't place their origin. But they seem familiar somehow. I frown, giving a shake to my head as I continued down the hall. I wonder where I could have seen them before. Come to think of it, they look similar to the runes sketched in my Uncle Gideon's notebook. If only he were here now, to see all of this with me. I feel a little pang in my chest as I picture his face. The gaunt way he looked the last time I saw him. I wonder if he's watching me from wherever afterlife there might be. My thoughts drift idly as I keep heading towards the distant glow. It feels like I've been walking for a solid hour. The walls, the ground, the light. Everything looks the same as when I first entered. I'm starting to wonder, am I even moving forward? Just as I begin to doubt my sanity, suddenly, something flickers in the distance. I blink a few times. It's still there, shimmering and rippling in the fiery light. Is this the end of the corridor? My chest tightens with hope. I break into a sprint. The sound of my footsteps bounces off the walls, louder and louder as I put more weight into each stride. The glimmering in the distance is getting brighter, brighter and brighter, until my foot hits a ledge and I hurtle forward, but manage to catch my balance. After a moment, I realize the reddish golden glow of the fog is gone. I glance over my shoulder to find that it's still obstructing the corridor I came from, but I can at least see the room around me now. Ooh, pretty. A huge chamber, more magnificent than anything I could have imagined. I see the source of the glimmering light now. Bright candles flickering from a large chandelier on the towering ceiling. Huge pillars all around me form a hall, guiding me forward. Up ahead, dim moonlight filters in through the faded dark windows, casting an eerie shadow over everything. This is not what I was expecting. Then again, I'm not entirely sure what I was expecting. It feels even warmer in here than in the corridor, and my hair is starting to mat against my forehead with sweat. The candles up above me crackle softly in the silence, giving the empty chamber a faintly warm light. The sounds make me oddly happy. It feels like the only thing that I've heard for hours was my own footsteps. At the end of the hall, I spot a small rectangular shape that looks like an altar of some sort. It stands on a lightly raised platform, like a dais, and sticks out against the featureless wall. I approach the dark marble stairs leading up to the altar, gazing all around me while I walk. Everything about this place is so looming, threatening. Maybe long ago, it was a beautiful place of worship, but now it feels more like a dungeon that's waiting to consume me. The pillars cast towering shadows down over me as I pass by them. On their surfaces, oddly ornate decorations are etched into the stone. Watching my curiosity getting the better of me, I stopped by one pillar to study the images. They seem to mostly be of kneeling and bowing figures. One decoration in particular catches my eye. A man with a crown, bending down before a woman in ragged clothing. There are others similar to it etched nearby, but with different figures. They're beautifully drawn, but so faded that they give off an eerie, nostalgic feeling. I wonder who made them. I finally reach the dais and ascend the steps towards the altar. When I examine it, I'm a little surprised at how mundane it looks. A short, lonely slab of gray marble with minor faded decorations on its front and sides. I lean in to get a better look at its surface, and I see runes etched into the marble. I can actually read these runes. Unlike the altar itself, which seems very old, the markings look surprisingly recent. I trace a finger along the grooves, frowning as I try to figure out what the symbols mean.
1 drop to light the fire.
I use my thumb to scrape away the light dust concealing the next set of runes.
2 drops ignite the core.
Core? The core of what?
3 drops to burn it higher.
I pause, squinting to decipher the last of the runes. The flickering light of the candles is atmospheric, certainly, but it definitely doesn't make reading any easier.
A 4th drop to part the door.
Door? I glance around the chamber skeptically. No door in sight. The only places that aren't obscured by pillars are smooth stone walls. But I didn't come all this way to just be stuck at a dead end. I might as well see if I can figure out the meaning of these arcane runes. I'd like to think that drops only means water, but I have the foreboding feeling that the altar wants blood. The magic that I can sense from it is oddly twisted, like something that was once pure, but now is a hollow, disfigured version of itself. Darker magic often uses blood for rituals, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's needed for this one. After a moment of hesitation, I reach down and grasp my sword and draw it out. The familiar sound of the metal scraping against the scabbard echoes in the large chamber. It's an ornate blade, its hilt decorated with twin carvings of lions' heads. I'll admit that the sword is more ornamental than functional, but I've kept the blade sharp enough to cut skin. And I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.